Hey everyone, I want to take just a moment to try to encourage you. This past summer was very difficult for me. You may have noticed, but I basically shut everything down blog-wise, or maybe you didn't even notice. And you know that in itself can even be kind of discouraging, but that's a little bit of the reason why I did it this past summer. My family had a horrific summer, basically, just to say it. Me personally, I dealt with a lot involving my children, and my children are my world. Okay, let's try this again. My phone died, and that's something I really should have checked before I started recording. But I was saying that this summer was very difficult for us. My husband and I decided to keep the hosting up on my blog, but we shut everything else down. All of the automation services, the emails, so that's why you've not been getting emails from me. And I went and I got another job. I'll get to that in a minute. So, like I said, my kids are my world. Well, this past summer, I was told that my son needed to be evaluated for autism. As it turns out, he does not have autism. But if you've ever been through that process, or you know somebody who has been through that process, you know it's a very long process. It was a very draining process. And it took a lot more out of me emotionally than I was prepared for. Some of my blogging friends knew that. They kind of knew I was backing off from the blogging world because I got to a point where I felt like I couldn't talk. I was suffocating. There's just a lot that goes into that screening. A lot of psychological evaluations and things that I wasn't prepared for. And kudos to everyone who's ever been through that. And my heart goes out to you in a way it's never been out to you before. I've always had a special place in my heart for families who have children with autism because I know some. And thankfully I was able to reach out to them during this process. But like I said, it took a lot more out of me emotionally than I was ever prepared for it to. And it wasn't so much the word autism that got me or my husband. It was the fact that I felt like I missed something. And I was beating myself up. How in the world did I miss this? How did I miss this for so long? And I couldn't carry on a conversation with anyone. Well, my son does not have autism. As it turns out, he does have another medical condition. And it's one we did miss. And because of this, he doesn't know that he does certain things until he's physically doing them, or sometimes he doesn't even know that then. And this is something my husband and I have been fussing at him for years about. And so then there was that weight of, I've been chewing my son out for something that he couldn't control. And that made me feel like a bad person. And I thought, how can I... The blog just was not even priority at this point in my life. And I had this game plan set out for it. It was going to succeed this summer. I wasn't slowing down. I wasn't backing down. And then life came at me like a ton of bricks and it knocked me down. And I had to make a decision. And basically I chose my family over the blog. I mean, that's how that worked. I was like, adios, see you later, gotta help my family out. Because now we had medical expenses that we had to pay for. And my husband and I, we don't like to go in debt. But we had to. And so then I ended up getting a short-term job over the summer, and it drained my family. I've been a working mom before, but it has been a long time. And if you're a mom who's ever gone back to the workforce after being a stay-at-home mom, you know there's a lot of little things that you forget. My house fell apart, obviously. That was expected. But then there was this emotional balance that my son needed me even so much more during this process, and he didn't get that one-on-one support from me in the way that he probably needed it, because I did, you know, I was helping my family out a little bit financially. But then it got to where even though I was working and we were able to pay off the medical debt, my family needed me more here emotionally. And so I walked away from what I was doing. And now here I am again, back at home being a blogger. Thankfully, the blog did not totally fall apart. And you know, I owe a lot of that to God. I think it was him saying, hey, keep on at it. And also, you know, to good established SEO that I didn't even realize I had established the way that I did. But I will say, back to encouragement for you, because I'm sure you don't want to hear all about my summer rant. If you are in a place like I was in, I want to encourage you to step out and see the light. I basically went into a little shell. Some people go into like this little bubble world and nobody ever gets affected in there. I was in a shell. I had built walls around me, and I was going through somewhat of a depression. My friends were there to kind of encourage me and lift me up, and I'm sorry I'm shaking the camera, y'all, but I'm sure you don't want to hear Paw Patrol in the other room, so here we are hanging out in my bedroom with the cell phone. So yeah, I had gotten to the point where I was kind of down in the dumps, and it took a lot to get me out of there, and that's something that happens to me fairly often. And I know a lot of people battle depression. I have to work to find joy. In fact, joy is my word this year. So ironically, after last summer, I have chosen to find joy. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. I want to encourage you to go out and find joy. Find joy in whatever it is. Maybe it's working in the garden. Maybe you do need that job to get you out of the house. Maybe you just need some joy in knowing that your kids are healthy. Maybe you need to spend time working out. Maybe you need to spend time reading your Bible. Whatever it is that brings you joy and fulfillment, I want to encourage you to do that. I want you to encourage you to stop worrying about what other people think. That was me this summer. Hands raised, totally me. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to hear what other people had to think. I had gotten to the point where I was so worried about what every single little person thought that I was tearing my family down from the inside out. And so then I got to this point of I'm shutting the world out because I don't want to hear what anybody has to say. You've got to find some balance in there. But don't worry about what other people think to the point that you do shut yourself in this little hermit crab shell the way that I did, because life's not fun that way. I encourage you to spend time with your family, going out there, do something exciting. Go down the slip and slide with your kids. Hello. That's fun. You know, just whatever these little things are that you enjoy, I want to encourage you to do that. Don't so much worry about your blog stats. They're just blog stats. And at the end of the day, that was something that I did realize this past summer. I put a lot of work and effort into my blog for many, many years. But when it boiled down to it, blog or family, I chose family. Because, yes, there are people behind those blog stats, but I don't get to know them the way that I get to know my family. And if I'm a hypocrite to my family, then I'm a hypocrite to the rest of the world. If my family only sees me as a woman who yells, but the rest of the world sees me as a woman who smiles, it's not worth it. It needs to be flipped. And that is a decision that I made this past summer. I'm back at it, back in blogging world. So hi again, and I am sorry if you were expecting a lot from me this summer and you just didn't get it, but like I said, I had to give it to the family this past summer, and good gracious, my hair looks awful on the camera, y'all. But hey, whatever. Talk to y'all later. You have a great day. Bye.